Welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever really stopped to think about what holds our legal system together? I mean, how do we actually balance the state's need for order with, well, an individual's right to basic dignity and fairness, especially when someone's accused of a crime? Today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to take a deep dive into those fundamental human rights, the ones that act as safeguards within the criminal justice system. Our mission here is pretty straightforward. Give you a shortcut to understanding these protections, the really crucial ones. We're pulling insights from key sources, including Safeguarding Human Rights and Criminal Justice. Think of it as your essential guide.
And it's so important to remember, these aren't just technical legal points, not at all. They're really the bedrock of a just society, right? A bulwark against the state potentially overreaching. They're designed to make sure the process is fair, just, and humane for everyone involved. So we're going to unpack 10 foundational principles today. Each one is like a critical layer of protection. Maybe think about it like a journey through the system.
Okay, a journey. I like that. So let's start at the beginning of that journey. There's this principle that stops the past from constantly haunting you. Protection from double jeopardy.
Right.
For anyone not familiar, it basically means once you've been properly convicted or acquitted of something, the state can't just keep trying you for that same thing over and over.
Exactly. And the power in that, it goes way back. There's this old Latin maxim, nemo debet bis vexati pro una et adem causa.
Which means?
Basically, no one should be twice troubled for the same cause.
Yeah.
What's really fascinating, though, is how it impacts things beyond just the person accused. It's foundational for public trust in court decisions.
Oh.
I mean, imagine if every acquittal was just temporary, the state could just keep trying with its huge resources. It would completely undermine the idea of finality in judgments.
Yeah, that would create chaos.
Total chaos, a climate of suspicion, harassment. You need to know that when a decision's made, it sticks.
I can definitely see why that's so vital. For the individual, sure, but also for the court's integrity. Okay, next up is one many people have heard of, that famous phrase, the protection from self-incrimination.
Ah, yes.
The right to remain silent. But what's really behind that? What does it do in practice?
It's absolutely a cornerstone. This right guarantees that nobody can be forced, compelled to be a witness against themselves, but it goes deeper than just preventing obvious coercion.
How so?
Well, the subtle but huge impact is that it shifts the entire burden of proof squarely onto the state. The prosecution has to actively build their case with evidence.
Right, they can't just rely on the accused slipping up.
Exactly. They can't just wait for you to incriminate yourself. It's a massive shift in the power dynamic. It stops the use of, torture or duress for confessions, and it means any statement made under coercion just isn't admissible. It's about upholding dignity right from the start.
That definitely sounds essential, but I mean, how solid is it in reality? Are there ways this right gets subtly chipped away at, or specific situations where it's tougher to uphold?
That's a really important question. Because while it's law, actually using it effectively often comes down to awareness. People misunderstand what remaining silent really means, or maybe how to invoke it properly. Sometimes, indirect questioning or maybe not getting clear advice can blur those lines. It's a right that needs constant vigilance, really, from everyone involved in the system, individuals, to make sure it's not just sidestepped.
Awareness is key then. Okay, so let's say someone is arrested. What's the immediate next step? That first legal checkpoint. I understand there's a tight timeline for something called production before magistrate from police custody. What's that about?
Yeah, this is a critical, immediate check on police power. It happens right at the start. It basically mandates that the police have to bring an arrested person before a judicial magistrate within a set time, usually 24 hours, though travel time might be excluded.
And the magistrate's role is?
They're not just there to rubber stamp things. No. This process is designed specifically to prevent arbitrary arrests, illegal confinement, and crucially, things like custodial violence. The magistrate actually looks at whether the arrest was valid.
Okay.
And then they make really important decisions, like whether to remand the persons and keep them in custody, or maybe grant bail, which is temporary release, often with conditions. It ensures the whole thing starts off lawfully, accountably.
Accountability from minute one. Got it. Okay, moving through the process, we hit a concept we all kind of expect. The fair trial. We hear that phrase a lot. It's universal. But what actually makes a trial fair? It sounds simple, but I bet it's complex.
Oh, it absolutely is. A fair trial isn't just one single thing. It's more like a whole bundle of rights, procedural and substantive rights, all designed very carefully to ensure impartiality and justice.
Like what specifically?
Well, we're talking about things like the right to a public hearing, the right to be told exactly what you're charged with, the right to cross-examine the witnesses against you, and, of course, to present your own defense.
And the big one.
And the big one, yeah, the presumption of innocence. You're innocent until proven guilty, beyond a reasonable doubt. A trial is only genuinely fair when all those pieces, all those safeguards are not just theoretically there, but are actually followed meticulously.
Hmm.
The kind of aha moment is realizing just how many things have to line up perfectly just to reach fair.
A bundle of rights. I like that framing. And often, for that fair trial to happen, another element is crucial: the speedy trial.
Hmm.
We all know justice delayed is justice denied. But what does delay actually mean for the person involved? The human cost.
The human cost can be immense, devastating, really. This right guarantees you're tried without unreasonable delay. Just imagine your life completely on hold for years. Maybe you can't work, your family's struggling, stress is mounting,
Yeah.
all while waiting for a trial where you might eventually be found innocent. That prolonged pretrial detention, it inflicts serious psychological, social, economic hardship, even if you're acquitted in the end.
So it's not just about the verdict itself.
Not at all. And beyond the personal toll, a speedy trial also helps ensure evidence stays fresh. Witnesses are still available. This contributes to a more accurate verdict, too. It's basically about preventing a kind of punishment before any guilt is proven.
That makes perfect sense. Protecting lives while the process unfolds. Okay, following that, another essential piece: the right to representation. Having someone who knows the ropes in your corner. Specifically, the right to a lawyer of your choice.
This is absolutely fundamental. It's about leveling the playing field. Think about it. The state has all this power, resources, legal expertise in the prosecution.
Right.
Most individuals, they lack that legal knowledge. They'd be completely lost in the system's complexity. Having a lawyer ensures you can actually navigate it, understand the charges, build a defense. It promotes real equality before the law.
Without it, the system could be inherently unfair just because of that knowledge gap.
Exactly, an imbalance of information and power.
Okay, that's clear. Let's jump forward a bit. What if, despite all these protections, someone is convicted? What happens next? That leads us to the right to appeal, right? The chance to have a higher court look at the case again.
Precisely. This gives you a crucial second look, a second layer of scrutiny. It's a safeguard against mistakes. Because, let's face it, no system is perfect. Judges are human. Errors can happen.
So it's a check on the initial trial.
It is. The right to appeal ensures that potential wrongful convictions can be caught and rectified. And it also checks that the original trial actually followed all the legal rules and standards. It's a core mechanism for review and correction, and it really helps maintain faith in the system's overall fairness.
Okay, now for one that's conceptually really interesting, because it messes with our sense of time and law. Protection from ex post facto laws. You mentioned being punished for something that wasn't even illegal when you did it. That just sounds fundamentally wrong.
It is fundamentally wrong. And yeah, it might sound archaic, but it's a protection we constantly need to uphold. An ex post facto law is one that criminalizes something after it happened, when it was perfectly legal at the time.
Or increases the penalty after the fact.
Or increases the penalty after the fact, exactly. That's just as important. This protection is all about upholding the rule of law, legal certainty. You need to be able to live your life knowing what the rules are now.
Right, without fearing they'll change retroactively.
Exactly. You can't have the goalposts constantly moving after the game has been played, so to speak. It allows you to act with a clear understanding of what's okay and what's not. It builds trust in the stability of the law itself.
Absolutely crucial for that trust. Okay, let's circle back for a moment to representation. You mentioned the right to choose a lawyer, but there's a related but distinct right, the right to legal aid. How do these fit together?
That's a great point to bring up. They're related, but legal aid is specifically about access to justice, regardless of your bank balance. It ensures that people who are poor or marginalized, who simply can't afford to hire their own lawyer, still get legal help, free legal services.
So it makes the right to representation real for everyone.
Pretty much, in many places, especially for serious crimes. It's not just a nice to have, it's a constitutional requirement. The core idea is that your financial situation should absolutely not be a barrier to getting a fair defense. Justice can't be a privilege only for those who can pay. It has to be universal.
A vital principle for true equality. Okay, finally, let's look beyond the trial, even beyond appeal. What happens if the system got it wrong, or even after someone has served their time? This brings us to the right to compensation and rehabilitation.
Yeah, this really extends that umbrella of human rights into the post-conviction phase. It acknowledges the system's ongoing responsibilities. So first, if someone was wrongly prosecuted or convicted, they are clearly entitled to compensation for the harm they suffered. That makes sense. But then there's the concept of rehabilitation. This is becoming increasingly important. It recognizes that punishment isn't just about retribution. It should also aim for the offender's successful return to society.
Helping them reintegrate.
Exactly. This means providing things like education, job training, social support, things designed to prevent recidivism, which is just the term for someone reoffending. It's about fostering positive change, helping people rebuild their lives, offering a path forward, not just a dead end.
Wow. Okay, so we've really covered a lot of ground there. 10 fundamental human rights, all intricately woven into our criminal justice systems. From that first moment of arrest, right through the trial, appeal, and even after conviction, these principles are all working together
They really are.
to ensure fairness, accountability, and, well, basic human dignity.
And it's quite striking when you lay them all out. These aren't just minor details or footnotes. They are the absolute foundation. They create this complex system, this tapestry, aimed at making the process transparent and respectful of individual rights at literally every stage.
It's a constant balancing act, isn't it?
A constant, delicate balance between society's need for order and safety and the absolute imperative to protect individual liberty and rights.
So after hearing all this, what does it really mean for you, the listener?
Well, it brings up a pretty important question for all of us, I think. We see these extensive protections laid out in law, but what's our role? As individuals, as a society, how do we make sure these rights aren't just words on paper, but are actually upheld, actively protected, constantly looked at again, and truly accessible in practice? It's a dynamic thing, this balance. It needs constant vigilance, constant engagement, really, from everyone, not just the lawyers and judges,